Hello, and welcome to another episode of Let's Play Front Mission 5, Scars of the War. So this is going to be our last run, I think, in the survival simulator, our last attempt to escape from the survival simulator with our parts and our RP. You know, it's just not that much fun. I don't know. If people have actually had experience with the survival simulator and actually found it enjoyable, please let me know in the discussion. I'd be interested to hear why you did find it enjoyable, because the survival simulator, like, it is basically it's like a wall in the game that causes me to quit playing. I have probably restarted, like, from the beginning, this game about 4 or 5 times, and I'd say, like, all except one of those times, the thing that caused me to quit playing was the survival simulator. I'd get up to, like, say, the mid-20 floors or even above that, and then die, and then just get so frustrated with the whole thing after putting in hours to try to get some decent parts, that I would just go ahead and quit playing. So yeah, the other time was just because I had to move, and so other things sort of took precedence for me, but for the most part, it has been the survival simulator that has caused me to quit runs. So yeah, I think, like, Front Mission 5 is generally a very polished game, but this is really the one problem that I do have with it. So my advice to you, if you're playing the game, is really maybe just, like, I mean, it sounds pretty bad, but I kind of suggest just going ahead and maybe, like, instead of doing the survival simulator, just use like a hacked version of the game to get access to better parts. Like, if you want to use your own RP and stuff, well, that's cool, but there is that image out there on the Front Mission info, or not the image, I should say, the patch out there on the frontmission.info site that does allow you to get access to all the parts in the hangar. Like, all the parts you can use in the game are accessible in the hangar. And just because I consider the survival simulator kind of be like a fatally flawed aspect of the game design, I don't think it is exceptionally game breaking to go ahead and use that facility, or to use that patch. I would say that, what am I trying to say here? Obviously you got to limit yourself. Like, you can't just go and take the Terror Wolf parts and go ahead and use that, because those are the best parts in the game. I mean, it is possible to build a better Vonser by mixing the Terror Wolf body with some other parts, but basically the Terror Wolf is the strongest Vonser in the game. But I've been playing through, as I mentioned before, on my hacked save, and I just went ahead and did my dry run of the next mission, and I've been complaining a lot here about the game, but actually that was a lot of fun, doing that next mission. The reason it was fun is because my Vonsers weren't excessively overpowered, and the way I really managed to do that is just by avoiding the training, like the battle simulator at all, and kind of going in with under-leveled pilots, and then never upgrading my Vonser above the upgrade limit that I'm currently facing in the game. Okay, so that's a good item. That's something we're going to want to use. But first, we are going to want to try to hit this guy with the missiles. And the other thing I should mention is that it is perfectly possible to complete the game without doing the survival simulator. So I should make that very clear, that like, you know, you might think that the game is so fundamentally broken that like if you're considering doing a playthrough that you would just abandon the whole idea because you don't want to get involved with the survival simulator. But I really suggest you don't do that, because it is possible to get through the game with just the parts you can buy in the store. Like, really, these parts that you find in the survival simulator are... It's like, it's just there for fun, and, like, to make the game a little bit more interesting, but I think the point where that really falls apart is that the survival simulator itself is not fun. So, I like the idea that, like, getting the exotic parts is optional, but I don't like the idea that it is so grindy. You know, somebody mentioned in the YouTube comments that, like, or I guess it's like, I don't want to mess up your name, so I'm not going to say it, but that the survival simulator reminds them a lot of the item world in Disgaea. And yeah, like, I think that's a fair comparison. It's something I also never enjoyed at all in Disgaea. And it, you know, it's completely optional in Disgaea. You don't have to use it. But again, it's just not enjoyable, and what's the point of a game if it's not fun? Okay, we'll take the cat's ray, I guess. And we don't need that. Will we take the cemetery? I don't see why not. Take it. Okay, let's go clear out this guy. What was this thing? It was like a... Oh, it was a Rexon arm, yeah. That's something we definitely don't need. Okay, so, you know, that's enough whining about the survival simulator. Hopefully we will get an escape, and we will be able to bring something back out of this. But it's not the end of the world if we don't, and as I said, we will be able to finish the game without screwing around with the survival simulator. Okay. So, there's the Kirishima. So we have what? We have three cemetery 10s now. Okay, so that's that's not particularly useful, but we do... Okay, we've picked up one Cat's Ray XX, so that is something we'll definitely consider taking with us if we leave. We don't have any RP, and we can't do any pilot upgrades, so we'll just go ahead and move out. So, yeah, from like a games criticism perspective, in terms of like, okay, so let's consider not whining about the survival simulator so much and talk about maybe how it could be improved or how it could be made more fun. I think, yeah, I mentioned in the last video that we should definitely, or the developers definitely should have made it a lot shorter. I think that is a big advantage that you would have. Another thing is definitely to make the escapes. I would go so far as to say that the escapes should not be items that you drop, or sorry, that you find as dropped items. You should just be able to escape like every 5 floors. That sounds pretty reasonable to me. Or at least every 10 floors. Like, you should have the option to escape after you clear a boss level. That seems completely reasonable to me. Especially considering that, you know, you might not want to go, like, into the higher level floors if you're just grinding for RP. Now, the developers might have thought, well, that makes it too easy to grind for RP in the game, and so we need to make the escapes drop instead of having them always available. That's that is a possibility, I guess you could say, but at the same time, okay, well, so I think the way you have to look at it is that on the one hand, you have the arena where you can just grind out basically as much money as you want. It is like there's no there's really no like limit on the money you can get from the arena, and the only limit is your patience, because the AI is so terrible in the arena that you are effectively gambling in the arena. Like when you go to the arena and you decide how much money to bet, it gives you a ratio of how much you will earn versus your amount invested. And that ratio is determined by the value of your parts on your Vonser relative to the parts on the enemy Vonser. And I think that is actually like a very accurate description of the way that the arena works, because there's no skill involved whatsoever. And the AI is just broken beyond imagination. Like, it is so incredibly bad that you are effectively rolling the dice when you step into the arena. On the other hand, the survival simulator does not easily pay out RP. And I completely understand the rationale behind that as far as game design goes. Like, they wanted to make CP plentiful and RP valuable. And, you know, that completely makes sense, right? If you could just grind out as much RP as you wanted easily, then those high-level parts wouldn't seem quite as cool. And I think that was the entire rationale behind the design of the survival simulator. But I think they had to recognize in designing this game that this is not a MOBA, or sorry, not a MOBA. What am I talking about? An MMORPG. This is not an MMORPG. This is not a game like, you know, let's say Guild Wars 2. Which has a fairly similar design structure to what they were aiming for, where like getting the you know, the fattest loot, getting that high level stuff, is extremely grindy and time consuming, and it's all about being able to say, like, you know, hey man, I got this item, this item which is worth like this ludicrous amount of money, of in-game currency, because of my persistence, right? Because I got all these crafting materials and I grinded out all these dungeons like a billion times and so on and so on. You know, that's all part of like the social aspect of the game, and trying to provide the opportunity for players who are extremely dedicated to playing an opportunity for bragging rights, basically, right? And, you know, that's completely fine in a very social multiplayer game like that. And, you know, certainly every game is social to some extent. Like, you know, if you know, maybe you meet up with your friends and you tell them, like, oh, like, say, to use a very dated example, you know, I got oh man, I'm trying to dredge up my memories of Final Fantasy VI here, and like, what was that? You know, you could go to that island and grind out those high level loot from those dinosaurs there. I'm sure somebody will fill me in on what that's all about, but I just remember, like, you know, my dad, the way that he plays any RPG is that he tries to use as little skill as possible and just brute forces everything by just grinding. He's really I wouldn't say, like, I don't know if I want to say he's really good at grinding, but, like, it's not something that bothers him, you know? Like, it's something that really bothers me. But ever since I was young, whenever we play an RPG, my dad's approach to how to solve a problem would just be to grind more, and thereby get past the problem. So he would get this incredibly rare loot, right? That, like, you just wouldn't imagine that anyone would normally get. And, you know, I'm sure there's plenty of completionist players out there who would do the same thing. In a lot of games. So what I'm saying there is that if you go to an average player of, say, Final Fantasy VI and say, oh, I got this crazy, like, you know, combination of offering such and such, and I have it for all my characters or whatever, they would probably be pretty impressed. And then, like, that is just like a very elementary form of the kind of bragging rights stuff you see in Guild Wars 2. Which, you know, I'm just using it as an example because that is the only MMORPG I've ever played at any length. So I know it fairly well. I've put maybe, you know, a couple hundred hours into it, which is not a whole lot, but it's one of those games that I just happen to play with a friend. So anyway, it's like, yeah, if you have an offline game, you can have, like, in your local community of friends, you can have that bragging rights thing, and I think that's what the developers were trying to capture with Front Mission 5 by including this survival simulator. So I can't get a shot on this guy. Is that correct? From here? No, I'm gonna have to go up. That's okay. Okay. Just give me a moment as I compose my thoughts, such as they are. Oh my god! Success! Yes! Yes! This is it! The escape code enables escape from the current floor. Thank you, I will take that. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that even though that social aspect does exist for offline games like Front Mission 5, I don't think it is as crucial to the game design as in an MMORPG. I don't think they needed to go to the lengths that they did to gate off the quality items in the game. And you might say, oh, but, you know, this is basically a challenge dungeon, and, you know, they have those in FFT and stuff with the deep dungeon. It's like, okay, fair enough. Certainly the survival simulator is challenging, and that is a fair comparison. However, on the other hand, I would say that the real, like, quote-unquote difficulty of the survival simulator is not the challenge of playing it. It is the endurance to continue playing until you get an escape code and just grinding out levels, and B, the luck that is involved in not getting caught in front of a chest and getting blown up by accident because it happens to drop off an enemy you killed, which is a random occurrence. I need to emphasize that. Certainly there is some skill to positioning yourself in such a way as that it's unlikely to happen, but sometimes you just, you know, it just happens, right? So I think that the challenge aspect of the survival simulator is really kind of second fiddle to the luck and just determination aspect of it. And I don't think that is very good game design. With all those arguments in mind, I think, yeah, the reasonable thing to do would just be to not make drops more plentiful, but to make there have less levels, and to make escape possible every 5 levels or every 10 levels. I think the game actually would have been quite a lot of fun that way. The other thing, of course, I was have suggested is that yeah, okay, so what about hard mode, right? Like, you can only get certain items in the New Game Plus. I really have mixed feelings about that. I think, like, they should have made more available in the standard game. Not necessarily made them all available. Like, maybe gated off the last 10 floors or something like that. But I do think they should have made more available in the standard game. Either that, or they could have made the survival simulator only available in hard mode, and I think that would have been an interesting choice, providing that they changed the mechanics of it. It's not a bad idea, I believe. Sure. Do I want the Leo social? Whatever, I'll take it for now. Okay, I have 1 missile left, so I'm going to use that. Just go ahead and move down there. And I might as well burn my items, because, you know, better safe than sorry, and I'm not going to use them. I'm obviously not going to waste my my chance to take an item out of here on some stupid repair items. Okay, let's grab that. So, that was a lot of rambling about this game and about the design of it. Hopefully it was somewhat interesting. And hopefully it helped pass the time as we went through this level for the 3rd time. But let me know what you think. Obviously, yeah, some of you have a lot more experience with roguelikes, and you can kind of maybe give me some more insights as to how they should properly be designed. I was kind of toying around with the idea in my head that not having the escape is kind of like if you were to play The Binding of Isaac Rebirth, but was it Mum's Heart would only randomly drop the Polaroid? Maybe that's not a very good analogy. I don't think it is actually a very good analogy, because it's more a question, like, it's almost like, yeah, it's like if you were to play The Binding of Isaac, but the only way that you could get items out of a run is if you got the Polaroid, and then the Polaroid would only drop randomly. Yeah, I think that's more of what it is, if we were to make an analogy to The Binding of Isaac. And I don't think that is very good design at all, as I've said 100 times now. The other thing that somebody mentioned is that, like, maybe it's because this is a military sim and those games are so heavily, like, you know, intensely grognardy stat-based and all that kind of thing. I don't really think that's what's going on here at all. I think it has more to do with the whole, like, basically creating scarcity so as to provide the opportunity for the sense of accomplishment and or a sense of bragging rights. And as I said, it's not as significant in an offline game, although offline games have become far more social in the years since this game was released, because of the phenomenon of Let's Plays, which, you know, really upped the social aspect even beyond what was available in message boards at the time that this game came out. Okay, so let's go take a look at our items and decide what we're going to take out of here. So we have a Frost Sea arm. I think I'm going to take that. And I believe I will also take a Cat's Ray XX. And I think that's all I really want to take out of here. The other, what is it, 2 points, I will just get RP off of. Because the other stuff isn't... Unless we have like a rank 3 cemetery, which I don't think we have. No, we don't. Or do we want the Gale 2? Well, that's an interesting question. No, because it only has 3 range, right? Yeah, no, we want the Cat's Ray XX because we want that range on our gun. That will be very, very nice for Walter. Alright, so... that is what we're going to do. Okay. Exit. And we're going to escape. Is this okay? Yes. So, right arm, Frost Sea. We'll take this. And... what is this? Hand weapon versus shoulder weapon. We are going to take the Cat's Ray XX. Now, it is a shame that we didn't get those 3 RP that we got off the level 10 the time that we did that, but, you know, them's the breaks, right? We still get 2 RP from doing this run, so we're almost coming out at the same level. This is okay. Acquired items: Frost Sea and Cat's Ray XX. RP gain 2. Well, it doesn't feel so bad when things work out and you can leave, right? So let's go over to the hangar and see what we can do with this stuff. Obviously, we're going to save first. Don't want to burn our RP without saving. Can you believe it? It's actually happening? We're actually out of the survival simulator. Oh my god. Okay, so we are saved there on the Eclipse. Let's take a look at the hangar. So obviously, far less damage for now. So if we compare it to the Gale, it's like 14 less damage, but again, that range trumps damage any day, in my opinion. Where was the rank 4 Gale? Yeah. It's not a huge difference. I think, yeah, but in the long run, definitely the Cat's Ray is a superior item. Okay, right arm, Frost Sea. Now, let's see here. So this is a rank 2. If we upgrade rank 3, upgrade rank 4, upgrade to Frost HW. Yes. There we go. So, so Walter now has 2 Frost HW parts. Or he should. Oh, sorry, I may have forgot to equip it. There we go. So you can see the difference in the design there. The Frost is slightly has slightly broader shoulders, and that little bit of armor that sticks off the back of the forearm, whereas the Frost HW model is more simple. A little bit more beefy, perhaps, but actually has in some ways less armor than the standard Frost. Take a look there. It's a comparison. Would have been nicer to get the left arm, but hey, he's dual wielding, so it's okay. So, will I do the survival simulator again in my free time? I'm gonna really have to see how I feel about that. I might do it sometime in the late game. Yeah, if I really start running out of RP, which I think I will, I might try to grind out RP. Ooh, well, I'm not going to do it on camera, though. I guarantee you that. So, unless you guys really want me to do it on camera, to do like a full run of the survival simulator and try to get to the end, I can do that later in the game if you would like me to. But let me know how you feel about that. For now, I'm just glad it's over with, and we can move on to the next mission, which is really cool, and I think you're going to enjoy watching. And I think it's going to be an interesting question how well we do with this party, because strikers certainly have their uses on the next mission, but there are some issues that would limit their utility as well. I'll just say that much. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I should have another one out maybe in a couple days. We'll see. So until then, I will see you next time.